Limited can assist my own learning, which will in turn benefit the company as well. So who are 2C Holidays? We are a close-knit independent business running for 10 years now. We actively manage over 600 properties across the UK on behalf of the private owners, and through this we provide over 5,000 holidays to guests each year, which is a figure that's only growing. Our core beliefs and values for the company are what we execute in our working life when dealing with guests and owners, and also with each other in the office. These consist of the following: so integrity in knowing and doing what is right, commitment to being the best we can be and placing the customer at the centre of everything we do, respect to always treat each other the way you wish to be treated yourself, and accountability in taking responsibility for your actions, behaviours, performances and decisions. We operate with 4 departments all year round, which consist of bookings, owner services, marketing and cleaning and maintenance. There is also the 5th complaints department, which is more prominent within the main season in the summer. My own role in the company is in the owner services department. Day to day, this includes liaising and managing the private owners of the properties, updating listings and onboarding new properties, actively contacting potential owners who have reached out to us before, and generally overseeing the day-to-day integrations within the platforms. So what is a SWOT and PESTLE analysis? So these are business tools used to understand our working environment and make strategic choices for the company. So a SWOT analysis is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, and these factors are largely due to internal influences and constraints within the company, whereas a PESTLE analysis allows for in-depth research into the external factors which affect us as a company. So PESTLE stands for political, economical, social, technological, legal and environmental, which we'll look into further into the presentation as well. The research done for the analysis has been completed largely online for the PESTLE factors, but both were also completed through conversations within the workplace across different members of the team. On to the political factors. So one of these factors would be so furnished holiday lettings, and so that relates to the government policies which are mandate kind of our rules and legislations for us as a business. So furnished holiday lettings are also known as FHLs, and this is in line with holiday parks across the country, for which most of our properties that we let are based. The guidelines outline the pattern of occupation, kind of stating how many days in the year that it needs to be continuously let and how many days it can't be continuously let for. And these changes in these policies would potentially indirectly or directly affect our business, such as travel restrictions or the lifting of any travel restrictions. We know that whenever there are travel restrictions, be that within the UK or international, it certainly affects us. Of course, COVID allowed for only UK breaks, which proved for a fantastic season, and an increase in returning guests. However, with international travel once again being available and being quite heavily used, we have seen a little bit of a drop in UK breaks this year. However, it seems to be kind of levelling off and isn't like a steady decline. With economic factors, they're usually hand in hand with political ones. And so an influence which links political and economical factors together is those same FHLs that I was just mentioning. Economically, it would be in an owner's best interest to pay tax for a furnished holiday letting rather than a second home. However, if this was to ever change, we could be facing a decrease in owners commercially letting their holiday homes, which is an indicator of how economic factors can influence our industry. With social, so this is the factors that reflect what's happening in the market for which our organisation operates in. There has definitely been a change in social attitudes affected by the current cost of living. There is a decrease in the amount of money or budget for holidays, but also an increased need for rentals from an owner's perspective due to the increase in cost of utilities and site fees. As we know, these can cause an endless cycle as guests are wanting the best discount in order to book, and owners can't really understand why we're offering discounts as they need the most kind of profit they can out of the rentals. There's also been a higher kind of guest expectation, especially with leniency with deadlines. Of course, we always do want to be as flexible as we can be, take into kind of each individual situation as we can. However, we can only do so much, as we need to ensure we're doing right by the owners by securing them a booking as well and their income, which has proved for quite a kind of higher number of difficult calls throughout the year, which of course can affect the team morale. Technology. So technology is always advancing, as we know, which provides many organisations with new ways to communicate, operate and expand. As a company, we do need to keep up to date with technology available, which we do quite effectively. For certain properties, the use of the website What Three Words, for instance, has been quite heavily used, because if guests are ever arriving kind of later at night, or potentially not so late in the winter months when it gets darker earlier, it can be a little bit harder to locate a holiday home when you've never been there before. And of course, this takes them directly to the property's kind of front doorstep. The online market with our website allows for guests to clearly see what they're booking. Each property and listing is individual, so it's imperative for guests that they can view the listings in enough detail so that they have the correct expectations on what their holiday is going to be like. Technology also offers plenty of expansion opportunities. When we first started the business, owners were met kind of face to face. We'd only really take on properties that were within an appropriate travel distance, but then of course COVID hit. We couldn't travel, we couldn't go and meet anybody, so we had to find a new process to onboard owners and properties online, which has meant that over the last couple of years especially, we've been able to further expand to new areas, kind of such as Scotland and Wales and Cornwall, as we all know. Of course, being fully online does not come without issues. The older generation, for example, can have difficulty navigating the website, which is why it's still imperative that we take care with our customer service and make sure that we're offering the best service we can, which I believe teams certainly do. With the legal factors, so these are also usually hand in hand with the political factors. For ourselves, changes in law or any political factors can impact anything from the way people are managed internally to the way that the company can operate within the sector. As we predominantly let properties which are based on holiday parks, such as Huntly Park Holidays and Haven, we largely just need to ensure that we're following their policies and their kind of regulations, which is another reason why our customer service needs to be top tier, so that we can maintain a great working relationship with the owners and with the staff that work on the holiday parks to ensure we're getting all of the most up-to-date information. Environmental. So the environmental factors for 2C Holidays is largely the acts of gods, which we deal with. And this relates to the unforeseeable natural weather disaster or issues. Storms, floods, coastal erosion, that type of thing that we've had a little bit of recently. When dealing with these acts of God, we always want to ensure we're acting appropriately and ethically. And to do this, we keep a keen eye on the government advice and how the parks are reacting as well. Has there been any advice on where not to travel to or from? Are the parks closing at all? And of course, we can take action where needed. We are limited to what we can offer guests, as once again we need to do right by the owners to make sure we're still securing their bookings and their income, but of course we never want a guest to feel forced or as if they have to travel, otherwise they lose their money if they're feeling it's unsafe to do so. Of course, being a smaller company, it allows us to kind of take quick action with offering certain flexibility with certain situations. And so that means that it's once again a good favour in our reputation, of course being able to act on those quite quickly. On to the SWOT part of the analysis. So this will be what sets us apart from our competitors. Largely, we have an amazing reputation. We're scoring 4.8 on Trustpilot and 4.7 on Google, which is huge. Of course, that's a very accurate representation on our office and our workforce. Being a smaller company, we do have to ensure that everybody has the knowledge and the skills required to deal with a variety of situations. And as well, we have those extended office hours, so there's always going to be somebody in the office between the hours of 8 AM, 7:30 PM, 7 days a week, which means that we are pretty much always on hand to deal with any issues or any questions or any advice, of course. Being as well a small independent business, it means that we can quickly, like I said, take action with any new procedures or new requirements that necessarily haven't been thought of. It's quite easy for us to schedule kind of full team meetings or full team debriefs and take action when needed. So with our weaknesses as a company, of course, this is the downside of being a smaller independent company. We can't always be in the strongest position with certain markets compared to our competitors. For instance, we have a much smaller marketing budget compared to the bigger competitors. They can do a lot of commercial advertising with like TV ads and everything like that, where we're largely social media and word of mouth. The holiday parks can also offer the owners long-term benefits, so upgrading their holiday homes or reduction or no cost with site fees for X amount of years, guaranteed income and so on. If the owners do choose to let the properties with the parks, of course we lose the property, which means that we lose the opportunity for the holidays. Being a close-knit office, there are also added factors when it comes to hiring, which you wouldn't necessarily need to address as if you were a big corporate company. We do all work together kind of 5 to 7 days of the week, most weeks of the year, so some situations and times of the year can be extremely stressful. Personality is a huge factor for hiring due to this. Personality and compatibility within the team is almost as important as the skill set of the new employee, which does put us in a weaker position for hiring as it's harder and much more personal to recruit based on this. As well as this, we have specific times where it's best to recruit, which is largely kind of at the start of the season, that February, March time, when the workload starts to pick up, but it's still in a manageable state so that the new employee can benefit from the correct amount of training. Are there any opportunities coming up for the company in the near future? As you all know, a new website and booking system is being developed. This will give us more flexibility and options for what is included, how our website looks and functions, as well as providing an operating system for the team at peak efficiency. As a smaller team, there is always opportunity for anyone to suggest and discuss new marketing ideas. As we know, media marketing is hugely useful, and I do actually have an idea for media marketing tool, which I would like to pitch to you now. You might have seen a family or a friend or a celebrity post a photo of their stay and wanted to know where it was. I know that I have found myself in that situation and found a lot of my own travel destinations through that. We could capitalise on that and actually encourage guests to post about their stay in a form of a reward for a returning visit. So in theory, within kind of 10 days of their departure, they would post a photo of their stay using a specific hashtag and tagging us in it as well. And then they would take a screenshot of that post and send it to us into our info email inbox, which is monitored daily. And at that point, the account would be noted, and when they went to rebook, they could benefit from the reward. And that could be something as simple as a free early check-in or a free late checkout or a monetary credit, obviously depending on the time of year and the marketing opportunity that we want to take. Along with this, we could actually encourage it to be more loyal to the exact property that they wanted, that they originally visited, So they get that benefit if they return to that same one, which means that the owner is getting another loyal customer returning as well. And so that brings us on to the external threats with 2C Holidays. Of course, we are reliant on the individual owners, which does pose a little bit of threat, because there's always the risk that the owner will simply withdraw from ourselves. They'll take their property away. Of course, there are measures in place with the rental agreement and the owner services department to prevent this, but it still doesn't kind of negate that risk. And we could be left in kind of a peak summer situation with lots of guests that we needed to rehouse for their holidays, which of course can be quite stressful and of course hard to do. As well, we have the competitors. We know this year was much more difficult for UK holidays for almost all companies. Some of our competitors, such as the parks, were able to drastically drop their prices of their holidays because their main money makers with their income is actually the amenities the guests are using whilst they're on site, so they can afford to drop their prices of the actual holidays, which we simply can't compete with. There's also those benefits for owners to rent as well that I mentioned earlier, like the upgrades or the no site fees. And we have seen before where those types of offers are hand in hand along with an agreement to let their property with them commercially. So learning opportunities. Being a small business, there are many learning opportunities to take advantage on, and this is how the apprenticeship comes hand in hand within the business as well. The new website development provides an opportunity to learn and understand the different requirements for the different aspects of the business that I wouldn't usually see. Along with this, shadowing also is a great way for me to see those new departments or those different departments that I don't usually work within. As we're a small team, it's quite easy to approve shadowing requests as there's not a long management chain. However, there is still a constraint with this that I would need to ensure there was adequate cover for the owner services department whilst I was doing my shadowing. Which brings me on to the final point, which is the learning opportunity that the owner services role allows me to explore. The opportunity to work and take the lead on the owner services department is an amazing one, and each day I will be expanding my knowledge and my understanding on how we work as a company and what external factors affect us, which will certainly continue to be a valuable learning tool. Thank you for listening to the presentation. Was there any questions at all that I could help with?
Yes, I think there is, Alex. Firstly, thank you. It was really insightful, actually, the whole slideshow. And it can be a great opportunity to share it with new starters as well, to give them a bit of an in-depth sort of overview of what we do and where we're at. I have got a little bit of a question. I can't believe about your marketing idea. Awesome. And I'm sure Emma and Gracie will want to know more about that. How did you said you got it when you was on holiday, or how did you come about?
So I've seen before kind of family members post of their stay, and it's something that they then kind of said, well, actually in their kind of welcome pack in their cottage or cottage holiday, however it was, there was a little note to say if they posted a stay, then that owner would actually give them a little bit of money off to return. And obviously that's something that we don't necessarily do, although we do a lot of media marketing with the free giveaways and everything. It's just another way that we could be getting our name out there and spreading kind of more good information about the properties that we let as well.
Yeah, it's a great idea, especially, I mean, early check and late checkouts, as you know, no monetary value to us, so that is an absolute win. Well done. Anyone else that was it? Was there anything that you found out about the company that was a surprise?
Not too much about the company, mainly perhaps our competitors when it came to looking into the reputation about where we stood against them. We have quite a high rating on kind of Google and Trustpilot compared to them, whereas they're kind of sitting more around the 3s and 2s area. Them being so much bigger than us with so much more area and properties, I would have expected that to be quite a bit higher, but of course we know that we all take pride and value in our customer service, and we do everything that we absolutely can, so it's just another way that helps us kind of stand out and shine through.
Well done, Alex. It was brilliant.
All right, well, thank you for coming. I will send through a copy of the presentation as well at the end, and the sources of information that I found as well.
Fantastic. Well done.